So I'm just going to be doing another book review. This book review is going to be on The Parasitic Mind by Gad Saad. I just finished this book yesterday, and it is very interesting. It offers a lot of things that you kind of know about, but with an interesting turn and a deeper dive into the perspective. So basically, God outlines his background, his story, where he comes from. He comes from Lebanon. He's from a war-torn country, all this stuff. That he goes through a really rough childhood and sees a lot of bad things going on, and a lot of corruption, and a lot of ways that people thought in his country, and things that they would do just because of the way that the government and the way that the culture was situated in that area in Lebanon at that time. So he makes comparisons to his what he learned growing up, and to what he's seeing now in the West, and specifically in universities. Universities are where he sees it the most. He sees pretty much like an inability to rationally think and reason and back your not back your thoughts up, but consider the most obvious things. He points out probably the most obvious things that you could possibly imagine, and he takes a real life example of some way that it's been looked at today in our world today, and he really just outlines why it is so outlandish and so far-fetched that this could even be a possibility of a way that someone could think. And there are so many examples, so many real-life examples that he really provides. He really did his research when he wrote this book. He didn't slack at all. This is probably his, going to be one of the best works that he does. If he does write another book, I don't know if he'll be able to top it, because it really does. It really does capture what is going on in universities and how hijacked the system has become by social justice warriors, and how the social justice warriors have taken over, and they're doing all this, the stuff that isn't in line with so much even what they're claiming to say it is in line with. So yeah, that's just a broad synopsis of what the book is. There are specific examples he goes over. He talks about Islam a little bit, and he talks about why Muslims aren't bad people typically, but he typically go, and he goes over why you can't criticize Islam. That's another thing that he talks about. And what else? A lot of the similarities. It's a lot of similarities between the war-torn country that he grew up in and what he sees today. And he also points out a lot of advice at the end of the book on how to approach this stuff. He kind of gives a little bit of a solution, and it's pretty cool. It's not a bad book. I would definitely pick it up and read it if you had the time to read it. You might, if you're already deep into this stuff, like you're deep into counterculture and all this kind of stuff, it's good for you to strengthen your knowledge with a book like this. But if you're not very familiar with this stuff, it's going to be a bit of an awkward read, I'll tell you that. If you're not really familiar with the concepts like social justice warriors and how they've kind of hijacked universities and institutions across Canada and United States. So if you're not familiar with any of that, it will be very new and it will be kind of shocking. But otherwise, if you are familiar with it, it's a great book. That's my main takeaway for this book. So overall rating, I would give it a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. Yeah, so that's pretty solid. Thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to check out the next book review.